Hello and welcome to another reaction video with me, David, from Dave's Adventures. So, like I said, next reaction video will be again on Jack Silkstone's construction video updates on the Project Exodus hypercoaster. This, I believe, will be the 6th video on this construction project. So yeah, let's get into it, and obviously I'll be giving my thoughts as we go along. Let's go.
I'm going to be discussing how Thorpe Park have now changed the plans for this roller coaster. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Jack Silkstone and welcome to the 6th Project Exodus construction update. That's right, in today's video I'm discussing all of the latest information that we have in regards to Thorpe Park's brand new roller coaster. Of course, if you've been watching the previous updates, you'll know that Thorpe Park are currently in a weird situation in which some of the organisations that they reached out to in the planning application stage for their brand new roller coaster aren't too happy with the planning documents. So yeah, this has been an ongoing issue for quite a while now. Yeah, in today's video I'm going to be discussing how Thorpe Park have now changed the plans for this roller coaster in response to this negative feedback to their planning application, and I'm also going to be taking a deeper dive into just when we could be getting a response. So yeah, let's get going. So as you can see right here, we have the current planning application for Thorpe Park's brand new roller coaster. We still have no decision over here, but if we do click on the application number and head over to the documents tab, then you can see we've had a load of supporting documentation uploaded. But yeah, I've done a lot more research and there is some very interesting stuff to discuss. The majority of this interesting stuff though is all happening in this, the flood risk assessment June 2022, because of course the environmental agency had the biggest issue with the flood plan, and this all happened kind of last month. So this is Thorpe Park's response to the environmental agency. Project Exodus documentation and everything. There is so much information to sift through. Like, look at the size of this document alone, and this is just kind of in response to everything else. But yeah, whilst researching this, I stumbled across quite an interesting page which gives a good bit of context as to what the environmental agency's actual issue is with this flood zone. Because I keep
while watching this particular construction video of Jack's, obviously, paperwork and research, it's, well, as you can see, or as you just seen there, a hell of a lot.
Talking about it, but within this document we actually get a nice little diagram, which is the fluvial, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, the fluvial risk, which I did have to Google, I'll admit, but it basically means that this is the kind of flooding that occurs when there's significant rainfall. So in my opinion, the most common kind of flooding, I guess, I might be wrong, I don't know. But yeah, as you can see here, we've essentially got kind of two different flood zones, flood zone 2 and flood zone 3. But basically the lighter blue is less likely to flood than the darker blue, which makes sense that this is like the middle of Thorpe Park, and obviously the lake is going to expand closer to the boundary of the park. Like, that's just common sense, isn't it? So just for reference, Swarm Island, currently completely in flood zone 3. I think this is like Nemesis kind of area, and like Pizza Pasta area, also in flood zone 3. Saw the Ride is mainly in flood zone 3. A large percentage of Colossus is also in flood zone 3. And yeah, also Project Exodus's construction site is also in flood zone 3. However, there's even a bit of flood zone 2 in there, which means that bit is pretty safe. But this is essentially what the environmental agency are referring to when they're saying that this is a flood risk area. But just look at how much of the park is.
Now, looking at this, what obviously Jack's explaining is major flood areas. Yeah, major flood areas. I I can't really describe it. Yeah, definitely flood zones 3. But this is all fascinating stuff. It's, well, like I just said, fascinating and really intriguing.
Is in flood zone 3. Even the island next to the swarm is also in flood zone 3. Now there are other diagram types for different types of flooding, which different areas of the park do vary in. So, you know, as I said, I'm no expert, but from what I can take studying this document, it does seem like a lot of Thorpe Park is in this kind of flood risk area. So it's definitely not just this specific part of Old Town that has just miraculously hit this flood zone. There is a large percentage of Thorpe Park that is in this flood zone 3. Now this leads me on to explain how Thorpe Park have changed their plans to now reply to the environmental agency and put them a bit more at ease when it comes to this flood zone 3. Now this is a document that was uploaded way back when this entire kind of Project Exodus planning application went in. As you can see, it's dated March 2022. And if we head down to the kind of planning documents within here, and we can see that we have this document which is dated to October 2021. And this is essentially showing how Thorpe Park are going to construct the supports in particular for Project Exodus, especially in regards to the lake. So this is a document for the construction phase. That's important, remember that. This blue outline here is where the lake currently is, and the yellow is the area of proposed platform construction work. So they're basically going to raise this part of the ground so that they can build the supports. Now if we then scroll down, then we get the operational phase document, which shows how the ride will look once it's operating. This document is dated to January. That's also important. And yeah, as you can see, it's pretty similar to the construction phase. However, if we head over to Thorpe Park's latest submission to the council, then we can see that in their new construction phase document, which is now dated in June, then we've got, once again, during the construction, they will be raising the ground. However, if we go down to the new operational phase, in this document, it's now dated June again, then you can see that this platform has now gone and it's only going to be kind of existing where the supports are. So rather than building the entire ground up, they're now only going to be leaving ground where it needs to be for the supports. But yeah, as you can see from this little transition I've done on screen now, they've essentially got.
Well, that's a major contrast. It's just mostly part of, I don't know, obviously where with Loggers Leap, whether that was part of the like water from Abbey Lake. I presume it is. There must be like different kind of outlets to Abbey Lake, and yeah. Looking at this kind of plan, it's excuse me. It looks majorly different. Obviously, I can't point out because, well, I think where Monk's Walk is, you got like a little bit of land, little tiny strips of land. Obviously, it looks like the last lift hill and the double drop of Loggers. That looks like it's all water. So yeah, there must be some kind of inlet from Abbey Lake. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this is really fascinating stuff, like construction wise and whatnot. But yeah, doing well. Well, now with the construction phase, yeah, it's astronomical.
Got rid of a lot of the land that they were going to build and raise up. That's now going to be more lake land, which will hopefully mean less of a flood risk when building and operating this roller coaster in the future. But yeah, this 47-page document is essentially just how Thorpe Park are responding to the environmental's kind of objections to their original planning application. So it very much shows that Thorpe Park aren't panicking too much. Like, they've done all of the research and they have made necessary adjustments to the roller coaster's plans to hopefully get it approved. Now, one thing that I will point out is with these kind of adjustments that the park are making, as you can see by this entire document, just how like detailed Thorpe Park are having to be. Like, they're literally drawing around every support that's due to be built. This very much does show that, you know, it's not looking likely that this layout is going to change, is it? But that does take me onto this little visual that I've put together, in which I'm going to be comparing Project Exodus's proposed layout to other roller coasters at Thorpe Park to show you just how long of an experience this ride is actually going to be. So let's take a look at Project Exodus versus Stealth versus the Swarm versus Colossus. So yeah, as you can see, I've started all of these coasters as if the ride operator has just pressed dispatch. Now this is my own Exodus POV, so it might not exactly be the most accurate thing, but it's as good as we can get at the moment. Now, as you can see, Stealth is already on its way down, so as you guys obviously know that Stealth is jealously quick ride, but yeah, it's pretty much already over. And to be honest, I would consider Stealth like one of my favourite rides at Thorpe, well, my favourite ride at Thorpe Park. So the fact that it's over so quick obviously doesn't mean it's a bad ride. Now, as you can see, Swarm and Colossus are just heading down their first drop, and so is Project Exodus. Now, as I said, the lift hill speed that I obviously set in No Limits when building this might not be super accurate, but it's as good as we've got at the moment, as I said. So yeah, all of the coasters are now within their kind of main sequences. Interestingly, as Colossus is kind of doing its Cobra roll, Project Exodus has just done its main kind of insane turnaround down by platform 15, and it's now doing its main water splash as the Swarm goes over its final inversion over the station. So as you can see, the Swarm is pretty much already over, just as Project Exodus also goes into its final brake run. And as you can see, Colossus is just doing its final turn over by Rush as it goes into its last inversion. And there you go, Colossus goes into the brakes there. Everyone's saying Project Exodus is a super short coaster, but to be honest, it's not much shorter at all than the Swarm and even Colossus. And it's a lot longer than Stealth is, and as I said, Stealth's my favourite ride at the park. So yeah, everyone that's kind of saying, oh, it's too short, it is a short ride, but some of the best rides in the UK are short. Oblivion, Stealth, the Swarm. So I think the height, the drops, the kind of weird layout that it has, and the crazy airtime feelings that you're going to have, especially with that bar, will make up for it. So that's why I'm not too worried about the length of Project Exodus. Don't get me wrong, I would love a few extra buddy hills at the end, but
Actually, like, looking at all them 4 different POVs, I would have thought the new Mac Hyper seems maybe longer. I would personally like to see maybe like with the 2 hypercoasters, the big one and Project Exodus, the new Mac hypercoaster, like put them together and see which ones, you know, like height, well, obviously height, new Project Exodus will be higher than the big one, but the length, the different layouts, that might be quite interesting, to say the least. Tell me what you think in the video comments, if you agree, if you disagree. What are your thoughts, potentially?
It is what it is. Now, as I said, the final thing I'm going to be deep diving into in today's update is when are we going to get this decision from the local council. To be honest, at this point, I just want to know if it's happening or if it's not happening. And yeah, loads of you are commenting this as well. When are we finding this out? I'm in the same boat as you guys, but I have done a good amount of digging to see when we could expect a final decision from the local council. Now, as you can see, if we head back to the good old trusty Thorpe Park consultation website and we click on next steps, then you'll recognize this graphic that I've shown many times on the channel now. Now, as you can see, everything up to this point here has happened so far. Thorpe Park were due to finalise and submit their application to the council in spring 2022. That happened. In fact, it might have even happened a little bit earlier than spring 2022. And we are expecting a planning decision issued by the council in the late spring/summer 2022. Now, it is still summer here in the UK, so technically everything is still on track. However, we obviously now know that there are a few issues happening with the planning application, obviously in regards to the flooding zone and everything. So that very well could have just slightly delayed everything. Subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, because as soon as we get a decision, you know, I'll be straight online updating you all with what will hopefully be some very exciting news. And yeah, otherwise that does bring me to the end of this 6th Project Exodus construction update. It is ridiculously hot in this room, so I'm gonna finish this video, bang this fan on back there, and open up my window and get some cool air in here because I'm absolutely melting. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to leave a thumbs up if you're enjoying these Project Exodus updates. And otherwise, my name's Jack Silkstone. Goodbye.
Right, so there we have it, the 6th video on Jack's main YouTube channel. Obviously, I'm linking like the playlist, Jack's main YouTube channel, as well as the particular video. This being the 6th video in so far 20 plus. It is a good series, and I do enjoy doing my particular reactions to, well, obviously I want to thank Jack for letting me, giving me his permission to literally react to these particular videos of his, so big up, thank you Jack. I appreciate it. But yeah, so far it was more or less a sit down, checking when the plans were, which thankfully it's all good. So yeah, the next video will be the 7th video. I'm just trying to like get them, do these reaction videos as quickly as I can myself, because at the moment it is looking extremely well. So if you did enjoy this particular reaction video, please do hit the like, thumbs up button, as it really does help my channel to grow. Like I said, please mention in the comments section what you thought, or like compare like the 2 hypercoasters. Obviously this one, which obviously Jack's, it looks, I don't know if it's Planet Coaster reconstruction POV against the big one, Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Would like to see something like that actually. Yeah, and lastly, if you haven't, please do consider subscribing to my YouTube channel as well, Dave's Adventures. So yeah, until the next video upload, bye, and see you soon. Bye everyone, take care.